What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of 10-minute tutorials. In this episode we're going to teach you how you can create your very own Ethernet network cables. So I have here a 10-metre Ethernet cable, and these cables retail for around about £10 for a 10-metre or 15-metre cable. So for this video we're going to need a few things. First of all, we're going to obviously need some cable. So I have here a whole bunch of Ethernet cable. Next we are going to need some connectors. So these are the connectors that actually connect up to your router and to the device that you want to give access to the internet. So these are really cheap online. You can get them for a couple of pound for 100, and they're available all over eBay. Next we're going to need the boots to cover the connectors, and those are again very cheap online. Next we're going to need a crimping tool. So here I have a crimping tool. This came as part of a kit with the cable in question. So the final item on our list is going to be the RJ45 testing tool, and that is this little device here. Now what this does is it takes an input and an output, and it simply checks to make sure that all the connections are working properly, and it lets us know by the LEDs on the side. So we're going to be using that a little bit later on. I'll show you how that works. And that is it for the list. So we're going to take the Ethernet cable, and we're just going to select a random size here, and then we're going to take the crimping tool, and in the middle there are a few different cutters. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this middle cutter here, and we're just going to chop through the wire, and you'll see how sharp it is by how little force I put on this cable. So we're going to go ahead and just do that, and as you can see, it's really that simple. Next we need to expose the wire inside these cables. So again we're going to take the crimping tool, and I will try and get the right angle, but you can see a groove in the crimping tool just on the middle here. This is where we're going to put the cable, and that's going to allow us to expose the wire without damaging the actual cable. So all we're going to do is we're going to take the wire, we're going to pop it inside that little groove, and if you mess it up you can always just cut the wire down or just cut another wire. I have boxes of this stuff. I think I have around about 500 metres. So that's one done. We don't need much, probably around about 2 inches of exposed wire. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same on the other side. The next thing we want to do is make sure that all of these wires are completely straight. So all we're going to do for that is we're just going to take again this bottom cutter here, and we're just going to pop them over the cutter just like that. So as they're all inside the cutter, hanging over the other side, and we're just going to slice, and then that's gone through and it's all nice and straight now. So we're going to do that again for the other side. Just make sure they're all nice and straight. So we're not going to waste too much wire, but now they are nice and straight. So the next thing we need to do is we need to put these connectors onto this cable. But first of all, we need to make sure that the boots are on. So we're going to pop them in reverse order, so opposite to each other. So we've got the two boots covering the cable. Next we're going to take the actual connector, and this is where it gets a little bit fiddly. All we need to do is we need to take the cables and we need to slide them into the actual connector, but they have to go in a specific order. Now the order of the wires don't actually matter as long as it matches on the other side. We're just going to take these wires, we're going to put them in a random order. It doesn't really matter on the first one as long as we match it up for the second one. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take these in a random order. So we're going to take the connector and we're just going to slide the wires in. So keeping them nice and straight, just push them in so it's hanging loosely, and then just double check to make sure the wires have gone into the pins. Okay, so we're going to pop that back in there, and holding the wire, it is a little bit fiddly, but you do get used to it after a little bit. Pushing with a little bit of pressure towards the crimping tool. You just want to push in and then squeeze the crimping, and you hear that click. That's telling us that the crimping tool is pushing the pins from the back up towards the cable, and that is it. So once that's done, we're just going to push the sleeving up a little bit towards the connector, and then we're going to leave that loose for a little minute, because we need to make sure that we get the wires right on this side to match this side. Taking a look at the cable, we need to look at it from the back, and it may be a little bit awkward, so you may need to give it a little bit of a fiddle just to straighten the wires out inside the sleeving so as you can hold it straight. So taking a look from the back, we're starting with the white cable, and then we have the kind of a weird grey. I'm not sure on the entire colour, but we're going to just take these wires and we're just going to match them up. And we're just going to straighten these out just to make sure that they're all nice and even when we put them into the connector. So we're going to go ahead and chop these in the order that they're in, holding them nice and tight so we don't lose the order. And then we're going to take another connector. Then we're going to take the back of this connector and we're just going to wiggle them into place. I do need a little bit more sleeve room. So holding them nice and tight. Again, taking your crimping tool, pop the crimping tool in, or pop the connector into the tool, and it should hear a click again. There we go. And then we're going to put the boots over and then test this one. So to put the boots over, all we do is we just take the boot and just slide it over the connector. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our testing tool and we're going to turn it on. So we flick that to the on position. There we go. We're going to take one end of the cable and plug it into the Ethernet port. There we go. And then we're just going to simply take the other one and plug it into that side. And if we slide that back on there, you'll see that the lights should all match up. Now, we are ignoring this G because there isn't a ground on this cable, but every other light is in sync with each other, and that's telling us that it's working. If for some reason that the lights wasn't in sync, or one light didn't light up on one side, then it's not going to work. The cable won't work when you connect it up, and you'll need to start over. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again in the next one.